Do you think it's going to be tough to sit a fair and impartial jury in Shawn Combs' criminal case?
Well, I think they will have a fair and impartial jury. I think the problem is going to come in, with the Cassandra Ventura's tape. I mean, whether you've seen that before, you're certainly going to see that during the trial. And I think that's highly problematic, obviously, for Diddy, whether they've seen it before or not.
What would you do if a judge suddenly ambushed the defense by inviting Johnny Depp's famed attorney to the jury selection table, right in the middle of Diddy's high-stakes racketeering trial? It sounds like something out of a Hollywood thriller, but this is real life. Day 3 of Shawn Diddy Combs' criminal case, and the atmosphere is electric with tension and uncertainty. From the moment the gavel fell this morning, whispers of strategy and speculation swirled through the packed courtroom. "Ben Chew, please approach," the judge commanded, and the collective gasp was audible. Ben Chew, the very lawyer whose courtroom prowess helped Johnny Depp topple Amber Heard, was now being tapped to consult on jury dynamics. In that instant, Diddy's defense team went from confident control to scrambling furiously behind closed doors. Sources allege Diddy himself stormed out of the back room, furious at the perceived ambush. As the judge's gavel echoed, it set off a chain reaction that could irrevocably taint juror impressions before opening statements even begin on May 12th. We're about to peel back every layer of this unprecedented twist, from the courtroom chaos to the behind-the-scenes fallout, so you understand why this one move might be the difference between freedom and a decades-long prison sentence. Stay tuned, because the lines between celebrity spectacle and criminal justice have never been blurrier. Shawn Diddy Combs isn't just another celebrity defendant. He's a billionaire hip-hop mogul whose decades-long career has influenced music, fashion, and culture worldwide. But behind the platinum albums and red carpet appearances lurk allegations so dark they read like the script of a crime drama. Prosecutors accused Diddy of orchestrating drug-fueled orgies, what he allegedly called freakoffs, where vulnerable women were allegedly plied with ketamine, magic mushrooms, and other substances before being recorded without consent. These recordings, prosecutors claim, became tools of intimidation, ensuring that any whisper of discontent was silenced by fear of exposure or worse. In addition to sex trafficking and racketeering charges, he faces counts of assault, with at least one surveillance video showing him physically dragging and kicking his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura across a Houston hotel room in 2016, an image that has already gone viral and will be entered as evidence. If convicted on all counts, Diddy could face a life-altering sentence that dwarfs anything Hollywood has ever scripted for him. No wonder both sides have thrown every resource into this battle. Federal prosecutors have assembled a mountain of evidence ranging from recorded conversations to financial records allegedly tracing hush money payments, while Diddy's legal team has recruited elite investigators and jury consultants to profile prospective jurors down to their social media habits. This trial isn't just about one man's fate. It's a referendum on how wealth and fame intersect with accountability. Over the next 8 weeks, jurors will hear graphic testimony, see confidential communications, and decide whether Diddy is a master manipulator or a man wrongly accused. In this high-stakes arena, where one misstep could mean life behind bars, every second in that courtroom matters. Jury selection kicked off like a tense game of Survivor. More than 160 civilians, from school teachers and nurses to factory workers and retirees, were herded into the sweltering jury assembly room, each one acutely aware they might be handpicked to decide the fate of one of the world's most famous entertainers. Almost immediately, 49 potential jurors were dismissed for outright bias. Some admitted they had publicly criticized Diddy on social media. Others confessed they couldn't stomach the graphic allegations. The rest faced a grueling volley of nearly 100 questions designed to probe their news sources, personal experiences, and ability to remain impartial. We learned that 2 women who disclosed past sexual assaults were allowed to stay, while another juror, who had seen the damning hotel surveillance footage, was immediately excused. By lunchtime, only 35 remained in the pool, and as of today, just 19 have been seated, still shy of the magic number of 45. Why 45? Because once that threshold is reached, each side can exercise peremptory strikes, eliminations without stated cause, until they whittle down to 12 jurors plus alternates. Behind the scenes, defense and prosecution teams have enlisted high-priced jury consultants who scrutinize body language and social media footprints, seeking anyone whose background or beliefs might tilt the scales. Some defense lawyers quietly confessed they'd prefer younger male jurors, reasoning that younger audiences might be more sympathetic to a narrative of fame-driven mistakes, while prosecutors aim to keep jurors who express empathy for alleged victims. All the while, the judge has warned the panel that they'll likely see explicit images, hear graphic language, and face testimony that could be deeply disturbing, then watched as a few jurors swallowed hard and nodded, steeling themselves for what's to come. With each excusal and each seat filled, the tension ratchets higher. These faces in the box will decide whether Diddy walks words free or faces a lifetime behind bars. Just when the courtroom drama seemed peaked, the judge delivered an ambush twist worthy of primetime television. "Mr. Chu, please step forward." That moment, when Ben Chu, the attorney who masterminded Johnny Depp's courtroom victory over Amber Heard, was summoned to consult on jury selection, sent shockwaves through Diddy's camp. Think about it. You're building your defense strategy around neutrality. Then suddenly your opponent's star player is at your shoulder, whispering insights into what jurors might be thinking. In a whisper so loud it reverberated through the gallery, Chu explained that in high-stakes cases, teams often employ investigators to track jurors' online activities, tweets, Facebook posts, even Google searches. Usually, people want to serve on a high-profile jury, he said, but not this one. That line alone was enough to upend the room. Defense attorneys scrabbled for notes. Prosecutors exchanged uneasy glances, and Diddy's legal lead apparently stormed out, incensed that this consulting giant walked in unannounced. Social media chatter exploded. Clips of the exchange were tweeted, reposted, and memed across platforms within minutes. The judge insisted it was a transparency measure, ensuring both sides understood the process. But if you're Diddy, you have to wonder, was this a legal maneuver or a psychological operation designed to seed doubt in jurors' minds? After all, seats are precious, and any moment of unease or confusion could nudge a juror toward a quick strike. In celebrity trials, perception is everything, and today's ambush may prove more powerful than tomorrow's testimony. Behind the mahogany doors of the judge's chambers, sources say Diddy lost it. Eyewitnesses report he paced furiously, red-faced, muttering about betrayal and lack of communication. One insider claimed Diddy slammed a closed file so hard the knock echoed down the hall, startling court staff. Why such rage? Because this move cut two ways. Not only did it introduce Depp's lawyer into his trial, but it also signaled that the defense believed Diddy's jury was so fragile they needed an outside legend to shore them up. In Diddy's world, where image is everything, being portrayed as the underdog in your own defense can be devastating. His legal team scrambled to issue damage control statements, emphasizing that Mr. Chu's role was merely explanatory, not advisory. But the damage was done. Social media pundits and gossip sites had a new storyline, painting Diddy as rattled and on the back foot. Meanwhile, prosecutors quietly celebrated. Every crack in Diddy's confidence is ammunition in their argument that he's already on the defensive. And what of the jurors? Imagine sitting in that box, watching your future be debated not by one legal mind, but by two superstar attorneys whose rivalry is etched into pop culture lore. The implicit message? This isn't just a trial, it's a spectacle, and you, juror number 12, are the star player. If you thought staying impartial was easy, think again. Now, let's dive deeper into the nightmare prosecutors say Diddy orchestrated. They allege that beginning in the early 2000s and lasting into the 2010s, Combs hosted lavish gatherings dubbed Freakoffs, where select women were invited under the guise of exclusive parties. Inside, the atmosphere was intoxicating. Thumping bass, designer cocktails spiked with ketamine or magic mushrooms, and an unspoken rule that what happened in the room stayed in the room. But prosecutors claim the glitter hit a sinister engine. Hidden cameras captured graphic footage of women in compromised states, footage that allegedly became leverage to blackmail them into silence. Cassie Ventura's lawsuit, filed last year, provided investigators with the blueprint they needed. She described being directed how to touch a paid sex worker, oil poured over her body, while Combs watched from the sidelines. When a surveillance camera in a Houston hotel caught Combs dragging her across the room in 2016, that footage, first aired on CNN, became Exhibit A. One prospective juror admitted she found the video upsetting to watch yet insisted she could remain objective. "I don't know the full story," she said, "so I can listen to the facts." But can any juror truly unsee an image of violence? Countless experts agree that once graphic evidence lodges in a viewer's memory, it becomes impossible to erase. Prosecutors will argue that these freakoffs weren't consensual escapades, but criminal conspiracies, rooted in exploitation and abuse of power. Diddy's defenders counter that these were consensual sexual experiences typical of a subculture that prizes freedom and experimentation. That footage only shows a single moment in a tumultuous relationship, not a systematic crime ring. This battle over narrative, more than any bench of judges or panel of lawyers, is what jurors will grapple with. As they weigh consent against coercion, they'll be haunted by the images flashing on screen, images that could define Combs's. In every high-stakes trial, there's a constant dance between prosecution and defense, and this one is no different, except every move is played on a stage 10 stories high. On one side, federal prosecutors brandish decades of allegations, civil lawsuits, and graphic recordings, painting a portrait of a man who weaponized his fame to prey on women. They've lined up witnesses who allege Diddy threatened them with guns, even arson, to maintain silence, and court documents reference at least 11 additional women who've come forward since Cassie's suit. On the other side stand Combs's powerhouse defense attorneys, led by Mark Agnello, whose resume reads like a who's who of notorious defendants. They argue that the evidence only captures isolated moments misinterpreted by sensationalist media, that Diddy's lifestyle was one of consensual swinging, not criminal enterprise. They emphasize his philanthropy, his cultural impact, and the notion that this trial is fueled by gossip-hungry outlets rather than solid proof. Meanwhile, both sides pay fortunes to jury consultants who pore over questionnaires searching for jurors' favorite news sources, social media habits, even childhood experiences. Younger jurors who grew up on 1990s hip-hop? Defense gold. Jurors who volunteered for sexual assault hotlines? Prosecution dream picks. Peremptory challenges will begin this Friday, as each side is granted a set number of strikes without cause, an opportunity to reshape the jury entirely. But remember, they cannot be used discriminatorily. Despite that safeguard, the human element always finds a loophole. One attorney might cite a juror's demeanor, another might reference a hunch about bias. It's a chess match where the pieces aren't with flesh and blood and opinions. By the time opening statements roll around on May 12th, both teams will have sculpted a jury they believe they can sway, yet neither can guarantee how jurors will react when those first chilling testimonies hit. The countdown is on. This Friday, attorneys from both camps will wield their peremptory strikes, silent yet powerful tools that can remove jurors without stating a reason. By early next week, the jury pool will be finalized, 12 jurors plus alternates, each one chosen after a rigorous psychological and experiential vetting process. Then, on May 12th, opening statements will commence, setting the stage for what promises to be one of the most sensational trials of the decade. Will the ambush of Johnny Depp's lawyer haunt Diddy's defense? Can the prosecution's graphic evidence convince 12 strangers to convict a music icon? Or will the defense's narrative of fame-driven mistakes and consensual behavior create enough reasonable doubt? We'll be here every step of the way, breaking down every twist, every shocking testimony, and every split-second juror reaction. So hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and join our Civic Fracture community, where we crack open the culture of fame and expose the raw stories behind the spotlight. Have thoughts or predictions? Drop them in the comments below. Which side do you think will prevail? In a fractured world, even the brightest stars have shadows, and we'll illuminate them all, one